Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the How To series. I'm so glad to be in front of you again this week. If you're just joining for the first time, my name is Michael Audu, and the How To series is a weekly teleseminar on productivity and finance. And my goal with this weekly series is to share insights that I've learned over the years from experience, from other people's experiences through books and many other things. And just share ideas generally so you can get good information that can help you make better decisions as a person so that you can afford to live your best life. Last week we talked about how to lay out a career plan for yourself, how to lay out a career plan. Like, you get, whether a job or a business, it's still your career and your life is your business, so you have to have a plan for your work life. But this week we're going to be talking about something very interesting. I told you from last week that it's going to be about finance, and we're going to be talking about how to distinguish between rich, broke, and wealthy. Yeah, those are very popular terms, but I'll try and use functional definitions to bring them to make meaning to you so that they're not just, should I say, convoluted, like you get just. However, I want to say something. The explanation I'm trying to give now are not exactly dictionary definitions or dictionary meanings to the words. They are more or less re-explained to give it a meaning that can be useful for you. You get, it's a how-to series, and we want it to be very practical. So we want to put it in terms that you can use for yourself. I'm going to make this series very short, this particular episode very short. So let me jump right into it. What does it mean to be rich? Think of it this way. Think of being rich this way. Think of being rich more. I think personally, actually, let me share it as what I think. I think personally that being rich has more to do with cash flow, has more to do with income, has more to do with liquidity. Rich, liquidity. The reason why we're able to tell that someone is rich is because we're able to see how comfortably they are living, and for them to live comfortably or live extravagantly or whatever metric we're using to look, it is because they have cash flow. They have a lot of liquidity. They're able to buy things that we can see. They're able to buy liabilities a lot. They travel a lot. They spend on clothing. They spend on devices, phones, accessories, generally speaking. You get, so that person has a lot of liquidity, has a lot of cash flow, is able to maintain a lifestyle that we consider rich. So when you hear rich, think of it in that sense. You understand? So rich has more to do with cash flow, liquidity, and income. You get the flow of income into a person's life, and then their willingness to spend it to buy things that make them have better experiences. You get, usually. So generally, if you have a lot of income, you tend to buy things and have your life, because you know the money is coming back. So even if you spend it on a thing, it's coming back. So you get, that's why it's good to be rich. The money will always come back because you have a flow. So that is what it means to be rich. And popular ways of getting rich: you can get rich using a job, as in working a job. I mean, if you have a job that pays you, I think the highest paid CEO in Nigeria is around 400 million a year. So if you divide that, that's about almost 30 million a month. They're about 35 million a month. You get, so that level of cash flow, you're going to live good. So yes, a job can give you make you rich. A job can make you rich. There are quite a number of people who are working in certain companies where they are paid up to a million plus per month, 2 million, 5 million a month. You get, so a job can make you rich because with that cash flow, you're able to live a better life for you, your family, and all of that. So a job can make you rich. And that way you can get rich is by owning a business. A business that you own can make you rich. There's a lot of money if the business is working well and you are generating revenue, lots of revenue, and your margin is small enough, you're able to get enough money for yourself. So a business can make you rich. There are other ways to get rich. Father is rich, your uncle is rich, family can make you rich. You get just free money coming in. There are many ways. So long as you have a constant flow of money or a huge chunk of money you're spending from, you can be considered rich, right? Now let's go to point number 2. Point number 2 has to do with, okay, let's talk about broke. What does it mean to be broke? To be broke is like the opposite of rich. I don't really want to use poor. Poor is it's much more complex to use, but I just want to use broke. A person who is broke does not have this flow. You understand? You don't have flow, lack of flow. Once there's no money flowing to you constantly, you will be broke. You will be seen as broke, because over time you're not able to afford certain things. You're not able to afford even basic things, so you'll be considered broke, and in all sense of it, poor. But poor can be more complex. You get mind and all of that, so I don't want to really, of course, rich too has to do with the mind and all, but let me just use broke because we're talking purely in money terms, not in psychological terms. All right, so broke, absence of that flow, absence of liquidity, absence of income. You tend to be broke, or not sufficient. Not sufficient too can make you broke, because before you even spend one, two, three, boom, you're out of money, and you have to either wait if you have a job or hustle if you have a business. So you're basically broke. Talking about wealthy or wealth, or wealthy, yeah, wealthy, rich, broke, wealthy. Wealthy person is quite different from a rich person. Wealthy people have more of income generating assets, capital appreciating assets, and other kinds of assets. It's quite different. Now, for the rich person can have assets, you get, or other things, but you do not necessarily need assets to be rich. You can be your asset. You are your biggest asset. And if you are, the only problem is when you're sick. A rich person who falls sick gets broke. A wealthy person who falls sick, because they own assets outside of themselves which are income generating, they don't get broke when they are sick. They don't get broke when they don't work. They don't get broke when they quit. They don't get broke when they stop working. You get? So a wealthy person has assets, income generating assets, capital appreciating assets, and other kinds of assets. Cash too is an asset, but let's just leave it very simple. I want to keep it really simple. All right, so what do I mean? Land is a capital appreciating asset generally, because if they throw a bomb blast, if a bomb blast happens on your land or around your land, most likely the value of the area gets lower. I mean, terrorist attack kind of bomb blast and stuff, it gets really lower, and so it's not always capital appreciating, but most times lands in developing areas are capital appreciating assets. Real estate, buildings, because of inflation, most buildings keep appreciating value, because of, generally is depreciating, but we just say appreciating in value. But if you own real estate for rental purposes, now land on its own, except you lease the land or use it for agricultural purposes, it is going to be capital appreciating. The moment you start leasing it, or you're farming on it, or you're doing any activity that adds value on it, it becomes income generating asset. That is the difference. You can build on a land and it becomes a property. You can now rent the house or lease the house or whatever. It becomes an income generating asset. You get? So sometimes some people are wealthy, but they don't have income generating assets. They only have capital appreciating assets. What do I mean? You can have 10 kilograms of gold in your house and have 100 plots of land to your name, but be broke, because those assets, the moment you sell them off, they're no longer yours. You get? They don't give you value, but if you hold on to them, you don't make any money. You don't have any money, except you want to put them on collateral, as collateral to get a loan or something of that nature. But still, the moment the loan becomes due, you are broke again, because they will seize the asset and take it back. So most times you can have assets and still be broke. That's why I talked about the story of a broke wealthy man. Yes. So think about this. There are people in certain villages right now who own a lot of land, but that land probably worth 2 million, 3 million. But that guy is poor. He cannot even afford food. But he knows that he cannot do anything about it, because if he sells that land, he will not just not be able to afford food tomorrow, but he would have lost any chance of having any assets. I don't know if you're getting the whole point. So in essence, being wealthy does not mean you would be rich. You can have access to wealth. You can have 10 kilograms of gold, but the moment you start spending the gold, you start getting really absolutely broke. Now you might be broke temporarily, though you are wealthy, but you can become absolutely broke when you lose your assets, your capital appreciating assets, just to eat. All right, so now let me do the comparisons. You can be rich and wealthy. How can that happen? You have income generating assets. You yourself, you're an asset. You're working, you're making money. The assets you own, maybe real land, you have real estate on it, or you're leasing the land, you're making money from it. You own what else do you own? What else do you own? Shares of a company, two or three companies, 10 million units of shares in those companies, and those companies are generating dividend, income generating assets. You own what else now? Maybe some other paper instruments, bonds, stocks, bonds, treasury bills, and co, money market funds. You own all of those one or two things. They are bringing in trickles. You are reinvesting the capital on a repeat basis. So yes, you have assets, but they are all income generating. You have land. You have already said that. So you are both rich because there's money coming in from you and all the assets you own, and you are wealthy because even if you stop working, those assets can still keep giving you cash flow. You understand? Yep. And then you can be rich and not wealthy. For instance, you only have a job, or you only have one business that is giving you money. You own a large part of the business, but you are working in the business. You are self-employed. So even though it's a business, the moment you're not there, things can go wrong and probably income will stop flowing. It means you literally you are self-employed. You are rich. You could be making 2 million every month, 3 million every month, but the month you are out for any health reason, any emergency, or any reason at all, that income stops flowing. Yes, you might have some savings in cash, maybe not. Some people actually blow a lot of money that they really don't have savings. Their savings is like 200k, even though they're earning 1 million every month, because they're repaying debts they've owed before, they are repaying mortgage for their house. So at the end of the day, though they look rich, though they are rich, they are not wealthy. They truly are rich. They have cars, they have house, they have this, they have that, and it's theirs, but they are paying a lot of stuff. They are maintaining just a lifestyle, and so they do not have wealth. So if they die, their children go back to square one, their families struggle and all of that. The next is you can be broke and not wealthy. That's the worst place to be. You do not have income generating assets. You yourself, you are not an income generating asset as a person because you do not have any skill is what makes you income generating asset as a person. Skill, whether leadership or hard technical skill or sales or negotiation skills, you get technical skill is what makes you valuable. Your ability to solve someone else's problem, or lead a person, or be connected to a family that is wealthy and all of that. That's it. That's not a skill, that's a gift of life, right? And then, so you can, if you are broke and you are not wealthy, there's no wealth, meaning you don't even own any land or any gold somewhere, or any piece of artwork that is valuable, or any digital assets. Let me even not, these are all traditional digital assets. You don't own any websites, you don't own any email list, nothing. My brother, you're at risk of being kicked out of the earth by one disease or anything. You're at higher risk, let me put it that way. We're all at risk, right? Then finally, you can be broke and wealthy. Your dad owns 10 hectares of land, but you people cannot eat. The land is there, but he knows that if you sell the land, you eat, but tomorrow you are going to need to sell the land, so he does not even want to go that part. You own some gold rings from the weddings and all of that, but you don't have food. Every other month you are borrowing money, paying back. You're basically broke, though you're wealthy. The cure for me, if you ask me, if you're wealthy and broke, is to think of ways to liquidate some of your wealth to become, and then reinvest it directly to become income generating asset. If I have 10 plots of land and they're all mine, I will sell 5 and build something on 5, or I'll lease out 5 and build something on 5 that will be generating asset income. I would sell half, build the house on half, and be generating income. I would sell half, farm on the other half, and be generating income. That's how to play this game. You get? So the goal actually is to be rich and wealthy. Rich and wealthy. And in fact, the biggest goal, well, the fastest way to get wealthy is to be rich. That's the fact. Because if you are rich, you have enough money to keep aside to become truly wealthy. But the most sustainable way to be rich is to be wealthy. It's fast to get wealthy being rich, but it's more sustainable being rich by being wealthy. Think about that. So I hope this simple explanation has been beneficial to you, and I hope it helps you start putting the pieces together. As much as you're pursuing becoming rich, don't forget about being wealthy. Don't just keep increasing the cost of your living to match your income. Try look for ways to ship out that money into assets so that they start giving you money at a level. Then you can now pursue riches again, and then pursue wealth, and then at the end you have riches and wealth for you, your generation, and more generations to come. You can easily transfer wealth, you can transfer riches because it's stuck with you, or you can't transfer riches except if the riches came with, if in fact, what if your riches is by wealth, then you can transfer the riches. But if your riches is by self and there's no wealth, there's nothing being transferred. You can't transfer riches alone. All right, so thank you for being a part of this week's episode. And by next week, we'll be talking about productivity once again. You can, I'm already getting stressed. You can join the High Performance Club. I'll drop the link in the description section. You can please invite others to join this channel. Subscribe to this channel if you've seen this video. Do subscribe. Just click the button below. I think there. Yeah. Then you subscribe to this channel, and I would want you to, oh yeah, I talked about Amber Investment Club. It's this close to being launched, but we'll get it this April for sure. So thank you all for joining, and have a fantastic week. Please leave your comments and your questions in the comment section below. Have a fantastic weekend ahead. Bye bye.